Hey everyone, thanks for joining another episode of Christian's Conversations with. In the next few minutes, you're going to see the highlights from my last podcast with Kristen Hermanson, a dynamic leader with over 20 years of experience, driving success through smart communication, meaningful content, and people-first leadership. She thrives on guiding teams through change, embracing new technologies like AI, and building collaborative environments rooted in curiosity, trust, and impact. Whether she's crafting innovative messaging or leading mission-critical initiatives. You're going to hear about her experience in working for the entertainment industry for 30 years, what it's like going through the job market for her, and how those skills translate to any industry, whether it be entertainment, finance, or anything. I hope you enjoy the highlights. Check out the full episode on Christian's Conversations with on Spotify or YouTube. Thanks for listening. Being in the entertainment industry for over 20 years, what's the biggest misconception people have from the outside looking in when you're working in entertainment?
The biggest misconception is everyone thinks it's all play. Like you get to hang out with actors all the time. And you don't. You don't. It is, I will say, you are still dealing just like any job in corporate America. You're going to have to get stuff done. The misconception I think people don't realize is how much actual work it takes to get product to market. Whether you're seeing like the Naked Gun movie going out, and that's now out in theaters. The amount of time and effort it takes, and the difference between seeing stuff that you see on small screen like TV comparative to theatrical, or what we do, which is then we market it out in that different channel. So it's like you see it on TV or you see it in the movie theater, and then all of a sudden now you have a way to digitally engage with it, or you can actually buy it and hold it in your hand and you can play it.
You mentioned that you're interested in like moving past the entertainment industry because you've been in there for, over 20 years. What challenges are you looking to accomplish outside the entertainment industry?
I think the biggest challenge that this is just my perception to all the, recruiters and people in TA who I've been grateful to meet. Don't take this the wrong way, but I think they can't see past entertainment. They don't understand it's a business just like anything else. It is a business and it is driven specifically by cash. So return on investment, so your ROI is very high. And I think people don't understand that it is a business, or they think that, you do fly a little loose. So I think there's that misconception of what someone does when you say, oh, I worked at Paramount. Like if they look at my resume, I think some of the other misconceptions and things that are difficult are, 65% of a role, most of the time, I won't say all the time, but most of the time, can be learned or taught. And I like to consider myself to be more inquisitive, not curious. I think curious feels very casual, or being inquisitive means intent. So I tend to be very inquisitive. So I want to learn meaningful, and I can pick up on things very, very quickly. Like I said, we had to create everything on our own. So you have to be fast on that learning uptick real quick. So I think for me, the biggest struggle on transitioning out of entertainment, because I've done that and I'm grateful for the amount of impact I was able to have. And I should mention, outside of working at Paramount, doing my day-to-day job, I volunteered to do DE&I and worked as an extension of HR for our Office of Global Inclusion. And so there's all of that roundup with all the things that I had to do. I had to put on events just like this. I got to interview talent or senior management or other people. So there are all those skill sets that I have in that other part of my life when I was at Paramount.
We kind of talked about it a little bit already. Talk to me about the quiet champions who have shown up for you recently. I think we kind of went over that a little bit with some of the strangers that have hit.
I did this. This was a common practice of myself, because this came up this has come up multiple times. This will probably come up in every single industry and every single work. Anyone who works in internal comms and deals with, senior executives, if you are doing a survey and people feel like there's not enough recognition, or there's recognition for only some people and not all, these are the times when you go, who is going to be that person who will walk into a room and say good things and champion you when you're not in the room? I think it's really important for anyone who is a people manager, someone who has someone else who reports to them. This is important all the way up to a chairman and a president. You need to hold a mirror up and say, are you championing for other people that are in the room or that are not in the room? Are you doing that? Because if you are not doing that same thing, why is someone going to do that for you? And I'm pretty sure everyone will agree they would love to have someone champion for them when they're not in the room. And I have been very grateful that I have had, I would say, three people at Paramount specifically who I knew who championed for me when I was not in the room and not when I asked for it. And I recognized how powerful that was, how wonderful it made me feel. And I realized I needed to do that again and again and again for myself. So there was a role. I'll give you a really quick example. There was a role for something that I saw a woman post on, and I went, "Oh my God, I'd love this." So you write out your quick elevator pitch that you can post. And I'm like, okay, quick, it goes to her. I did it on a Friday afternoon, not thinking anyone was going to engage it. Two women who I absolutely adore. One who is become a good friend recently, and one who I knew from Paramount, who we met briefly right before my layoff. Both of them commented without prompting, saying how great I was and that I would be a great fit. It's an example like that that really takes it to the next level when you know you have people like that. So I post things like that, especially on Motivation Mondays, when I need to remember to remind not only myself, but I think others who may not know, of going, are there people in your court who are championing for you when you're not in the room? And if you know those people, celebrate them and tell them how much you appreciate what they do, because I think that's important.
Another post that I found interesting, because I understand understand it completely. You said something in the fact of being unemployed, you're being judged by how you survive it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, I remember when I got laid off and the amount of people that reached out and said, I thought you would be the last one on the Titanic. Now, the funny part is Paramount produced Titanic. So I said, yeah, so I would be the guy with the violin as the ship goes down. They're like, yes, that's what we figured you would do. And when you are laid off, especially like for me, for some people who've gone through layoffs are like, oh, I kind of get it. Was it easy to turn off and go, I don't have to look at my email? Yes. But that mental part of how are people going to now look at me knowing I have been laid off? I wasn't needed anymore. Why would someone want to pick me up? And there have been some interesting commentary on LinkedIn and other portals, by the way, other platforms that have said, I won't hire anybody if they're unemployed. And I had to make sure that I took a step backward and said, you need to make sure that you readjust your bias, because it is a bias, on how you reflect on people who are unemployed, because now you're one of them. So were there any biases that you had that you then thought of other people? You need to check yourself first before you start saying anything. But I realize, even though I may do that, as you know, and you've probably seen commentary on LinkedIn and other platforms as well, where people will judge you in a negative way if you've been laid off or if you've been out of the market for any period of time. I mean, I'm sure people are judging me. I have been unemployed since February of 2024. I took 2 months off because I was absolutely burned out and I needed that time to recognize I need to engage with my kids again. I'm also involved with Girl Scouts. I was cookie chair, so we were in the full thick of cookie season. So I fully dumped myself into that, which was good. But I have been on the hot hunt, what I call my Hunger Games of job search since that time. I haven't stopped. I didn't give up. So I recognize that there are lots of other people out there, whether they're on the LinkedIn platform or they're not, they're looking in other ways, like on any other job boards out there, that you really should never judge anyone or bring in a bias when you look at a resume or even, anyone's profile ever.